Welcome to Fearless Fridays, where we're talking about everything health and wellness related. My name is Dr. Melissa Chofi. I'm the owner of New Quest Physical Therapy, serving areas in New York and Connecticut. There is so much misinformation out there in regard to the medical field, and with our healthcare model turning more profit-driven, you guys as consumers need to be given all the tools you need to ask the important questions and demand you're getting what you need to ensure a strong, happy, fulfilled, and fearless life. My goal is to empower all of you to stand up for yourselves and be able to call bullshit in a realm that is confusing as fuck. Let's get into the episode. Hey guys, so today we're talking about diet and exercise, our favorite topic to talk about at the end of the year, and I'm being totally facetious when I say that. So Thanksgiving's coming up soon, and people are already freaking out about what they're going to eat and how they're going to burn it off and how much weight they're going to gain and blah, 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 blah. And it's a fucking tired conversation. Here's the deal. Diets, I don't care how they're marketed, whether it be a lifestyle change, supposedly, all diets are bullshit. If you're measuring, if you're tracking, if you're counting, it's bullshit. Who wants to live like that? All diets do are, is that proper English? Whatever. All diets do is teach you a disordered way of eating. So by that I mean you don't feel free to honor your hunger and fullness signals, because this diet is telling you when to eat, what to eat. It's teaching you to ignore cravings. You're a fucking human being. You're allowed to give into a craving every now and then. Diets just further perpetuate the whole I suck, I need to be better, I need to look better idea. And it just doesn't end. When you come off of a diet, it's even more problematic because you have no idea how to honor those hunger and fullness cues. And you're kind of okay, I'm off. I'm in the middle of the ocean with no paddle. What the hell do I do? And this is the reason why diets are $1 billion industry, because you don't have the solutions. It's not a way to live. So I give you my personal experience. I've been on probably every diet made, right? Last year was the tipping point for me. I did Whole30, and I'm very open about this experience. I did Whole30 as an experiment because I was hearing all of these reviews oh, it's so great. It teaches you what you're sensitive to. I'm not sensitive to anything I eat. I never have been. I have an iron stomach. I could go eat Taco Bell and I'll be totally fine after. I don't know why I did it. I do know why I did it. I thought I was going to lose 20 pounds because my friend did. So I went on Whole30. My past... Just so you have a little background, I overcame an eating disorder from high school a while ago, but I still had a pattern of disordered eating, meaning that I placed certain labels on foods as being good or bad. I limited myself in terms of not allowing myself to give in to cravings. I would over-exercise to make up for a big meal that I had eaten the night before. I put time constraints on when I can eat despite me being hungry or full or whatever. So that's disordered eating, is basically not abiding by your innate hunger cues, fullness cues, all of that. So going on Whole30 was a disaster because while it doesn't explicitly state this, you're being taught that certain food groups are bad for you. So you eliminate alcohol, sugar, legumes, not nuts. I forgot what else. But you eliminate all this stuff for a month and you slowly reintroduce it. When I went off Whole30, I went balls to the wall and ate everything I could because I felt so deprived and I was just rebelling. If you read the 4 tendencies, I did. I took the quiz. I'm a rebel. No big shock. So in hindsight, I wound up gaining 15 pounds and I had a terrible relationship with food. I would come home and just binge because I was oh my God, I'm never going to have this again. And it was awful. And it's when I started looking into the problem, it wasn't what I looked like, it wasn't what I weighed. It was this internal problem that I needed to fix, and nothing externally like a diet or lifestyle change or exercise program or whatever was going to fix. So I did a lot of research and work on intuitive eating, which I'm still doing, and that is really the only thing that has been helping. So yeah, I don't care what you call it. A diet is a diet, whether it's wrapped up as a lifestyle change or healthy behavior or whatever the fuck you want to call it. It's a fucking diet. The other thing that's just blowing my gourd right now is these fad workouts that people decide that I want to get in shape, I want to exercise, I'm going to go do a Beachbody program. I'm very vocal about this as well. I've heard from a lot of people around me who have gotten injured doing workouts like this. So the problem with this is that these workouts, they're marketed for everybody, quote unquote, and they're not meant for everybody. Everybody's at a different fitness level. Their modifications suck if they even have them. So if you're brand new to a workout program and you haven't worked out in 5 years, you haven't lifted anything above 2 pounds, and you're going to jump in and do P90X, that shows you how long ago I did a Beachbody program. P90X is like super old. But you're going to jump in and do that right off the bat, you're going to get hurt. Or the other thing about these workout programs is that if you can't finish them, it perpetuates another cycle. So just like a diet culture and just like a diet or a food intake change, the exercise cycle also perpetuates these behaviors. So you do a workout, or you attempt to anyway, that's way beyond your fitness level. You can't get through it. You try to get through it, and either you get hurt or you wind up sitting out for most of it because you just can't physically do it. You're gasping for air. And then in the end, you feel like a failure. You're like, well, I suck. What the hell was the point of that? I just wasted 20 minutes of my life. Might as well stop. And then you don't do anything because you don't have a starting point. So just like diets aren't teaching you innate cues and aren't following your innate cues of hunger and fullness and adhering to your cravings and all this other stuff, these exercise programs, these cookie cutter exercise programs, are not allowing you to be in touch with your body or in tune with your body. So if you're doing these moves that you've never done before, you're lifting weights that you've never done before, and you're functioning with a body who is that is deconditioned, this is not going to get you anywhere. This is going to do exactly what is the opposite of what you wanted to accomplish. So what happens is you're stressed the fuck out, and that is just a negative effect on your health. You probably can't sleep because now you're stressed out and you're like, oh my god, what am I going to do? This sucks, blah, blah, blah. And that affects your health as well. And then you decide, oh well, fuck exercise, I'll just go on a diet. Here we go, full circle. So all of this feeds into each other, and it's just, especially now with the holidays coming, you kind of want to tap into some intuitive work and really think about where your relationship with food is stemming from, what your triggers are, what your real reason for wanting to be on these diets is. Why are you looking to do an exercise program? What is your starting point? When's the last time you worked out, and what did you do? And at the forefront of all of this should be, what is your goal for life? So why do you want to get all this done? It's not, do you really just want to look better? How shallow is that? Or is it something else? Do you want to feel better? Do you want to be able to run with your family when they go outside on the weekend and not sit on the sidelines missing out? Do you want to be able to go to a dinner with your friends and not binge because something's put in front of you that you're not used to having? What are the real driving forces behind your behaviors and your thought processes when it comes to diet and exercise? That's where the work is going to start. So I asked you guys on Instagram last week to give me some questions that you'd like answered, and I picked a couple of really good ones. The first one is, why are people afraid of the word diet? And I honestly, this is my personal opinion. I think that if somebody says they're on a diet, then that means that there's something wrong with them, or at least that's how they perceive it. So they already have this feeling of inadequacy deep down inside, whether they think that people are looking at them because they're in a bigger body or what. If they broadcast that they're on a diet, then people are like, ugh. And it's even more attention drawn to them, which they don't want because it's negative. The other negative behind diets is more from my point of view, where diets are a negative thing because they are limiting your what you are doing in terms of food, and they're not teaching you how to eat. They're actually taking that right away from you. So when we're young and we're little kids, we know what hunger feels like, we know what fullness feels like, we know when to stop eating. And as we get acclimated to diet culture and grow older, we kind of lose those signals. So for me, that's why the word diet is a terrible thing. Another question I got was, why are people afraid of weighing themselves? Isn't it only data collection? This, for some people, is. So if you've never really had a problem with your weight or thinking that you were overweight, underweight, whatever, the scale isn't a big deal for you. But for a lot of other people, it's a big trigger, myself included. So I know when I go to the doctor's office, she won't tell me what the number is. And I asked her to do that because it is a trigger. So if I hear a number that I think is higher than what I should be for my height, which we all know is crap based on what I preached yet last week, and I do believe this, but I do have triggers. As I said, I'm still getting over disordered eating. So weight is a trigger because a lot of us base our self-worth off of weight because that's what we've been taught by social media, by society in general, and what we were taught our whole lives. So seeing that number is kind of like, oh God, I need to employ this terrible behavior, or this disordered behavior, or whatever to get that number down. So, yeah, that's why for some people it's just data collection and they don't care. And for others, like myself, we see it as something that can be very triggering. And the final question I got, which was really awesome, was, after a decade of doing all these fad diets, diet pills, starvation, can I reset my metabolism? So, what happens when you undereat and you're expending more energy than you're actually taking in? It's not that your metabolism physically gets damaged per se, but your body does go through a lot of physiological changes. So your brain is very smart, your nervous system is very smart. It starts to acclimate to those physiologic changes and how it interprets everything. So what happens when you undereat and overexercise is your body starts fighting for what's called homeostasis, which is basically a balance within the body to help it run efficiently. So in the process, this is done with changes in your hormone levels. Your stress can change, your body composition. So your body starts to use muscle for fuel because it doesn't have enough. So all of these changes are taking place within the body, and that's what the physiological changes in metabolic function are. So even after a period of time of having disordered behavior with eating and exercise, it is possible to repair the physiologic function of the metabolism, and this is done by employing healthier behaviors over time. It includes eating a healthy diet, and by that I mean you need enough carbs and fat in your diet, because I don't care who you are, that's what the body needs in order to function appropriately. And yes, carbs are not the devil. You also need appropriate exercise. Don't be a cardio junkie. Resistance and strength training are two of the best things that you can absolutely do in terms of exercise. It helps build muscle, it protects your joints, it allows you to take on loads incurred every day. It's awesome. You need to get enough sleep. A lot of people don't even get appropriate sleep. I actually know some people that get up early in the morning off of 3 hours of sleep just to exercise. So this is putting their body in a constant state of stress, and some stress is good for the body, but too much stress is not, and that's exactly the opposite of healthy behavior. So regulating our stress levels also helps with metabolic function as well. So these are all things that we want to employ over a longer period of time to restore an impaired metabolic function. Thank you guys so much for joining me today talking about fad diets and fad workouts, especially with the holidays, like I said, coming up and New Year's approaching. I really think it's important for us to be aware of what our bodies need and how our bodies feel instead of trying to push through this ridiculous expectation that we're supposed to eat or exercise a certain way. Everybody's different. Everybody reacts differently. Everybody comes from different starting points. So your homework after watching this video is to take note, kind of do like a journal of how you're feeling emotionally, physically, mentally, what your body feels like, what brings you joy when you're moving it, what makes it feel terrible. What are you eating that makes you feel terrible? What are you eating that makes you feel great? And all of this is going to be very helpful for you going into, I'm not even talking about the new year because I don't believe in New Year's resolutions. All of this is going to be super helpful for you going into tomorrow. So it's just kind of like a never ending audit of our emotional, physical capacity, mental capacity. And that's really the only way we're going to get better and feel better about our lives is by doing an audit. So, any questions, as always, please PM me. And thanks for tuning in. See you guys next week.